Sideshow to Circus, the evolution of perspectives on disability. Hello and welcome to Sideshow to Circus, the evolution of perspectives on disability. This is a 4-part social media series sponsored by the Edith Johnson Memorial Fund and Omnium Circus to expand understanding of the world in which we live, how we got here, and the role of popular entertainment in both reflecting and shaping common perspectives. Please enjoy this trip through time. Part 1. Historical Highlights. With limited entertainment options in an era of minimal mass media, early audiences flocked to dime museums and sideshows out of curiosity and fascination. Scientific understanding of physical and developmental differences was still embryonic, allowing lots of room for imagination and speculation. Sensational marketing and the promise of the unknown offered rare glimpses beyond everyday life. Even before the sideshow, there were traveling exhibits called dime museums, which featured human curiosities, on record as early as the mid to late 1700s. The height of the American sideshow is considered 1840 to 1940. The attachment to traveling circus amplified its reach, peaking around the 1870s. History. The 1840s saw the beginnings of the establishment of institutions specifically for people with disabilities. Though originally claiming to provide education and training, they quickly devolved. People with disabilities were considered unemployable, misunderstood anomalies to be feared due to lack of understanding. The American School for the Deaf, which opened in 1817, became an asylum by 1875. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, Barnum tantalized audiences with a forbidden peek into the world unknown to most. Behind the scenes, he was also known for generally fair and often quite high payments to his performers, especially at his American Museum, a permanent exhibit offering steady employment for many. While the sideshow and dime museum exhibits did provide some performers with a lifeline amidst challenging circumstances, it likely hindered broader acceptance and inclusion by amplifying the dominant attitudes of the time, perpetuating harmful stereotypes and social divisions. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, a portrait of sideshow performers, including giants Anna Swan, Noah Orr, and Monsieur Joseph, Little People Lizzie Reed and Edward Newell, and brothers Amos and Charlie Gorin, who had albinism. History. American slavery, believed to have begun in 1619, was not abolished until 1865. Even though enslavement was technically abolished, tenets of discourse against Black, Brown, African American, and Indigenous persons endured. This was also reflected in the sideshow. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, in 1738, a colonial newspaper announced what's considered to be the first sideshow in North America. The blurb highlights an enslaved woman from West Africa, 4 feet tall, and with features the writer compares to an ape. History. In 1907, a widespread eugenics sterilization law meant that many disabled people were blocked from having children. Many doctors believed that premature babies should be left to die. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, Martin Cuny, dubbed the Incubator Doctor, is credited with saving over 6,500 premature babies by incorporating them into his exhibits. Cuny did not charge the parents of his patients for their care. He made up the costs of caring for the infants through the entrance fees during the exhibitions. Cuny had 2 exhibits in Coney Island, one in Luna Park from 1903 to 1943, and another in Dreamland from 1904 until the fire of 1911. History. The first women's suffrage organizations were established in 1869. Women had no vote and often worked long hours for low wages. Women of color had even fewer options. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, women performers often earned more than men. Betty Lou Williams was reported to have commanded $1,000 a week in her early 20s and was able to support her family, providing an education for her 11 siblings. History. 1920. Women get the vote, though it would take until 1965 for racial discrimination to become outlawed in the voting process. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, 1931, Violet and Daisy Hilton, British conjoined twins in America, become legally emancipated. Sideshow to Circus, the evolution of perspectives on disability. Welcome back to Sideshow to Circus, the evolution of perspectives on disability. This post, Myth versus Reality, the Performer Experience, is part 2 of a 4-part social media series sponsored by the Edith Johnson Memorial Fund and Omnium Circus to expand understanding of the world in which we live and how we got here. In this series, we explore the lives of early sideshow performers with disabilities. Popular jargon called them natural borns, those born with a physical feature that would lead to their sideshow career. History. Though marketed as curiosities and celebrated for their perceived strangeness, many natural borns led rich lives beyond the stage. Their stories reveal both exploitation and resilience. The myth. Myrtle Corbett, 1868 to 1928, entered the sideshow circuit with the moniker the Four-Legged Girl from Texas. A myth because she hailed from Tennessee. Born with 2 pelvises and 4 legs, she became such a phenomenon that people pretended to be her for years after she stopped performing. The reality. Unbeknownst to sideshow audiences, Myrtle was very intelligent and believed to have as gentle of a disposition as the summer sunshine and is as happy as the day is long. Myrtle became happily married with 4 daughters and 1 son. Associates called her a refined woman of some musical taste. The myth. Prince Randian, born without limbs, became a star for performing tasks with his mouth, such as rolling cigarettes, shaving, and painting. Billed as the Pillow Man, the Human Caterpillar, and a variety of other names, the myths overshadowed the truth of his humanity. The reality. Guyanese-born with tetra-amelia syndrome, the 18-year-old was brought by P.T. Barnum to the U.S., where he'd spend 45 years as a popular attraction. In 1932, he was featured in the film Freaks. Privately, he was known for his intellect and spoke 6 languages. He supported his 5 children on his performance pay. The myth. Exhibited for his dwarfism, General Tom Thumb's story was based on a fictional character from English folklore, and he was given the myth of military status. The reality. His real name was Charles Sherwood Stratton, and he became a very wealthy global celebrity and is rumored to have supplied financing for his boss later in life. The myth. A pair of albino Black American brothers named Willie and George Muse were kidnapped somewhere between 1911 and 1914. They were put on display as Echo and Iko and advertised as Ecuadorian cannibals or men from Mars, a myth clearly created to generate ticket sales. The reality. In 1927, Willie and George reunited with their mother, who sued the sideshow owner and won. The brothers then rejoined the tour and performed nationwide as the talented musicians they were, later retiring quietly to Roanoke, Virginia. The myth. Schlitzie, a man with microencephaly, was known as the Pinhead. Along with his live performances, he was featured in the 1932 film Freaks. Schlitzie was fancifully billed as Maggie, the last of the Aztec children. The reality. Rumored to have been sold to a circus by his parents due to his cognitive disabilities and appearance, Schlitzie was described by those who knew him as affectionate and sociable, loving to dance and sing. Members of his sideshow and circus community showed compassion and care. His story reflects a world of cruelty, kindness, and complex social bonds. Sideshow to Circus, the evolution of perspectives on disability. Hello and welcome to Sideshow to Circus, the evolution of perspectives on disability. This is a 4-part social media series sponsored by the Edith Johnson Memorial Fund and Omnium Circus to expand understanding of the world in which we live, how we got here, and the role of popular entertainment in both reflecting and shaping common perspectives. Please enjoy this trip through time. From women's suffrage and the abolition of slavery to developments in disability care, access, and inclusion, public attitudes towards different finally began to evolve. Movements for civil rights, education, and medical ethics challenged sideshow norms and began to redefine representation. Empathy and understanding began to confront fear and misinformation. And audiences continued to love a spectacle. Introduction. Thrilling acts such as the human blockhead, sword swallowers, fire eaters, strongmen, snake charmers, and those performing on a bed of nails became more popular. Natural-born artists reclaimed their bodies and their narratives away from being exhibits and towards affirming their talents as performers, proud of their craft. This evolution helped propel the sideshow to maintain its vibrancy as a vital part of popular entertainment. Ward Hall opened his first sideshow in 1951, traveling the country for the next 70-plus years, becoming one of the most successful showmen in American history. Hall achieved his circus dreams, and as the founder of World of Wonders, helped other performers from all walks of life achieve their dreams as well. History. Jim Crow laws continued until the 1960s. The civil rights movement led the way toward the end of legalized segregation. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, by the late 1960s, freak shows were coming under attack as demeaning to people with disabilities. Mr. Hall maintained that the sideshow was one of the few places where people with these conditions could make a decent living. He told the New York Times in 2006, they were hams, but they could never be actors. Who's putting a bearded lady or a one-armed girl in a leading role on Broadway? This was the first step towards equal opportunity and fair representation, which was still years in the future. History. The 504 sit-in, a 1977 28-day sit-in protest spearheaded by the disability community, led to the federal enforcement of protections granted by the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, in 1972, Ward Hall brought a successful court case in Florida against a statute that prohibited, quote, the exhibition for pay or compensation of any crippled or physically distorted, malformed, or disfigured person in any circus, sideshow, or other place where admission fee is charged. He argued that the law deprived people like CeeLo the Seal Boy, one of the named plaintiffs, of the right to earn a living. In 1972, the Florida Supreme Court agreed. History. Deaf President Now was a 1988 protest at Gallaudet University. Students demanded a deaf president and greater deaf representation. The protest was successful and a major milestone in deaf rights and activism. The Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, passed in 1990, banning disability-based discrimination in the U.S. and ensuring reasonable access and accommodation. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, by the 1970s, the tradition of sideshow was relegated to infrequent occurrences and continued to evolve. Freaks were now thankfully acknowledged as ordinary people defined by their extraordinary appearances. Born different performers had found a community within their sideshows. Many retired peacefully to Gibson, Florida, also known as Gibtown or Showtown, USA. History. The world was changing. Shifting policy outcomes and activist groundswells in the United States led to changing cultural mindsets, which has shaped how society views race, disability, and other marginalized groups today. Meanwhile, in the sideshow, circus and sideshow evolve as art forms reflecting the skills, talents, and gifts each individual chooses to share with their audiences, and the audience's expectation to be entertained by professional artists. The 21st century ushers in a new incarnation of sideshow. Performers with disabilities began to create an advocacy and a pathway towards the main event. 21st century sideshow culture celebrated artistry and reclaimed identity. In 1985, the Coney Island Circus Sideshow once again began presenting shows all summer long. Coney Island, USA's Sideshows by the Seashore markets a family-friendly show featuring acts such as sword swallowers, fire eaters, glass walkers, aerial, and variety artists. They own both the history and its evolution in their statement. We're rooted in 1923, but we realize it's 2025. The diverse cast and employees want you to know that everyone is welcome here. The dawning of an age of respect. Hello and welcome to Sideshow to Circus, the evolution of perspectives on disability. This is part 4 of a 4-part social media series sponsored by the Edith Johnson Memorial Fund and Omnium Circus to expand understanding of the world in which we live, how we got here, and the role of popular entertainment in both reflecting and shaping common perspectives. Please enjoy this trip through time. Welcome to today. From the sideshow to the main event, the circus. From exhibition to talented feature artist. Performers with disabilities began to own the spotlight, claiming their place alongside their equally talented peers in the exhilarating world of the circus. Popular culture now understands that disability is a natural part of human life. 25% of all people globally are born with a disability, and 90% of us join the community at some point in our lives. Audiences of all abilities deserve to see themselves authentically represented in mainstream entertainment. Today, we have claimed what Ward Hall said could never exist. People with disabilities are on Broadway in film, television, commercials, and of course, the circus. Expanding American circus. The first American circus is reported to have been in 1793 in Philadelphia. It showcased a variety of acts, including equestrian performances, tightrope walking, and clowning. This was the main event, adjacent to the sideshow. There were approximately 30-plus circuses touring the country during the 19th and 20th century. Today, there are 41. The culture of circus has always been one of acceptance. There are many jobs to be done and work for anyone who's willing to work hard and learn. While the country was still segregated, a young talent happened upon the great animal trainer, circus owner Clyde Beatty. Beatty began working with then 13-year-old Emmanuel Jr. Ruffin as a cage boy mucking out stalls. He saw a great talent, and by 20, Ruffin had taken center stage under the moniker Prince Bogino. Beatty believed that American audiences would accept Jr. if he were a foreigner instead of an African American. Jr. continued to challenge race barriers, becoming the first African American to be inducted into the Ring of Fame, the highest honor there is for American circus artists. Integration of skilled artists of a wide variety of body types has been peppered throughout the world of circus. Accessibility for those in the audience with disabilities has been infrequent. Both Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey and the Big Apple Circus have had programs providing access such as ASL interpreters and audio description for select groups. Access has not been consistently available to a broader audience. Realizing a need for both representation and access, longtime circus performer Lisa B. Lewis saw an opportunity. In 2020, Omnium, a bold new circus, was born and quickly became a leader in the next step of the evolution of American circus by highlighting artists with disabilities for their incredible talent and assuring audiences with disabilities have the access they need to engage in every performance alongside their families, friends, and community. Around the world. Across the world, disability advocacy is gaining strength. There's a modern-day recognition of the need for opportunity and access for all. In the U.S. and globally, the circus, along with all popular entertainment, is shifting to a more holistic, empowering performance model based on storytelling and shared joy. England. Billy Alwyn and Julian Bracey, co-artistic directors, circus artists, entrepreneurs, and creative directors who met in the 90s in Bristol in a performance collective, saw a gap in the market for an accessible and popular form of modern circus, and formed Cirque Bijou in 1999. They are a great inspiration for Omnium Circus and many others. Ethiopia. Teklu Ashagir Circus, the Debre Berhan, also known as Circus for All, trains youth of all abilities, creating art, not spectacle. Portugal, Morocco, Afghanistan, and the U.S. Social circuses and integrative dance companies are using training and performance to build confidence, belonging, and agency. The many intersections of race, gender, economics, and disability politics means that for many American sideshow and circus performers in a rapidly changing world, life continues to be challenging. But with women's suffrage, the abolition of slavery, and ever-increasing awareness and advocacy around disability, these artists establish more autonomy as individuals and now continue to gain more control over their lives and careers. Global audiences are ready to cheer them on. This is the modern spectacle of skill, bravery, and talent we want in our popular entertainment. And audiences continue to love the spectacle. Today, you can see Omnium Circus perform across the country. Celebrating our 5th birthday, we've won numerous awards, toured 17 states, and entertained 140,000 people. For more information and to support this innovative and groundbreaking not-for-profit organization, please visit omniumcircus.org. Omnium Circus, where the magic of circus meets the power of inclusion. Thank you for joining us on this trip through time.